So the Realtors Association of Jamaica, the RAJ, is taking steps to combat real estate scams by developing a strategic plan to protect consumers and industry professionals. This move comes after a meeting with law enforcement and regulatory bodies highlighting the growing concern over deceptive tactics being used by fraudsters to target property seekers. I'm being told, for instance, that fraudsters are busy stealing legitimate property listings. They are creating fake social media pages and tricking victims into paying for viewings or deposits on properties that are not for sale or even for rent. It's crazy what is going on, and so we're very pleased that joining us this morning to help us dissect this matter is the second vice president of the Realtors Association of Jamaica, and we welcome him to our program right now, Mr. Allen, Roger Allen. Good morning and welcome. How are you doing today?
Hi, morning to you, Richie. Morning to your listeners, whether here in Jamaica and worldwide. And in saying morning to your listeners, we're also saying morning to our clients in Jamaica, in the diaspora, and wherever you are in the world.
Thank you so very much for that. Now, Roger, I want you to start by telling us a little bit more about the common types of real estate scams that you're seeing showing its ugly head, rearing its ugly head in Jamaica at this time.
Yes, I think you've made it a little easier for me in terms of your intro, Richie. But what has been happening is that scammers, persons have been deviously preying on the vulnerability of persons, who in some instance are desperate, in desperate need of housing, whether it's to purchase or whether it's to rent. And what has been happening is that, let me just start off by saying this. If it looks too good to be true, it's not good. It's a scam. And so you said it. We have persons who, for example, you have a house that is being sold for 60 million and a scammer, copies our pages and, puts it elsewhere and saying, hey, this is going for 35 million. And this, it's in a very affluent, it's in a nice community, and it catches the eye, of somebody who has been really looking for, something decent, something affordable, and that 35 million, 40 is within their budget. But here's what happened. The person said, listen, I know the owner, and basically I can secure this for you right away. So guess what? I'm going to need a deposit up front right now. And, that deposit can even be 10% of the 3.5 million. Or if they say, that's a bit steep, they say, listen, I will talk to the owner and what have you, and you can only pay 5%. And right then and there, persons are fleeced, of their hard-earned cash. And similar instances in rentals. Our members have actually had properties on the market, and it has been recently rented, and yet scammers have still found a way to make attempts to rent it to, unsuspecting victims. And in such instances, again, they're asking for a deposit up front to view the property. Now, let me say this. We as realtors, we don't collect cash. You're doing a rental and you've viewed a property and, you decided to make an offer, etc., and taking the next steps forward. We don't take the cash. We ask you to provide the deposit and the first month's rent and deposit into what we call our agency, our client's account. We don't take cash personally, and we would give you verifiable information that it's going into a legitimate company or agency account. So that is how we operate. And not to mention, one of the major things that we are very concerned about, it's not just the fleecing of persons of their hard-earned cash, but what it is that their identity is compromised, because in a few instances, scammers are asking for ID for persons involved, And I'm aware of two situations where the scammers would have said, listen, we can't drive into the property, we can't access the property, but we can drive on the outside, that sort of thing. And so what has happened is that a scammer who you believe is John Brown, who is obviously a different person, would have had a face-to-face with somebody who is legitimately seeking a property, whether to rent or to purchase. So, in terms of what we're doing, Richie, we are saying to the person, know who you're dealing with. And yes, we have been taking steps with not just our regulators, but our members and, other stakeholders to combat this very unfortunate situation.
So Mr. Allen, so how can persons out there actually certify that they're working with licensed realtors, for instance?
For instance, a realtor should be able, basically, to produce a license that is being issued by the real estate board, on his or her person. Secondly, you should be able, if Richard B. looks at Roger Allen, you will be able to go on the real estate board website and basically find my information there to say Roger Allen, the agency I'm attached to, that sort of key information. There are going to be some improvements on the part of our regulator, some enhancements or tweaking, I should say, in terms of that to, in terms of forward-facing information to better, protect, assist efforts in terms of strengthening, initiatives that we are collaborating on doing. And importantly, there's also the websites of the various agencies, and not to mention, importantly, the Realtors Association of Jamaica, noting here that we account for approximately 95% of the licensed real estate practitioners in Jamaica.
What would you say are the consequences for individuals or companies that are found guilty of real estate scams?
The law enforcement, there are certain things, provisions under the law where that is concerned. Some of what you're saying here, we would have discussed with law enforcement, basically. But it involves definitely prosecution, hefty fines, jail time, that sort of thing.
Now, Roger, if a consumer or someone involved, maybe they're trying to get a place rented or sold, but they feel that they have come up on a scammer, what should that person do?
Right away, again, using this, if it looks too good to be true, and you're seeing all of that, and as you've said, they have come up on that, report it to your nearest police station. You can also report it to the Realtors Association of Jamaica, 925-6223, because we will also assist efforts in channeling law enforcement on the matter ASAP.
So persons that have been affected, who have been scammed, would have lost money, hopefully not a property, and hopefully not too terrible a loss. But what other impact is this having on the overall real estate industry at this time?
It is causing, I wouldn't say embarrassment in one sense, but very much consternation, to use some adjectives here where our members are concerned, because we would have been doing what we need to do to, protect ourselves, to protect the industry in terms of what we do. We engage our clients. It's more than just a business card. We have identification, appropriate ID. But importantly, one of the things we do with the whole retreat that we're under with Data Protection Act and also, securing the identity of our clients, we are very mindful of these things. And so, in terms of the question that you've asked, we understanding that we have been strengthening our measures in terms of, the approach legally under Data Protection Act. But also now that we have seen what we have to do, what is at stake, we're very concerned at how the identity as well of the unfortunate and in some instance unsuspecting victims, is out there.
Well, I'm very happy that I was able to get you this morning to come on and to, sort of highlight this problem. Hopefully it's not a growing problem, and I hope that is one that will disappear soon. But before you go this morning, Roger Allen, what do you want to leave with us and our listeners?
But what I want to leave with you, listeners, engage a licensed real estate practitioner. Whether you're seeking a property to rent, whether you're seeking a property to purchase, or whether you want to sell your property, or whether you want to lease your property. You have had persons who are renting the properties on their own and have encountered hiccups in that regard. So what we're saying, reach out to one of the members of the Realtors Association of Jamaica, whose our licenses are renewed annually, and we will take you through the steps, whether you're seeking a property to rent, to buy, or whether you're on the other side of the table. You could be the landlord, or you could be the vendor, the seller of the property. Engage us, and we'll, as best as possible, protect you, whether you are the purchaser, or whether you are tenant, or whether you are the vendor in the equation. And we are, as I said, the Realtors Association of Jamaica. We have approximately 1,800 members ready, willing, and able to serve in you island-wide.
Roger Allen, thank you so very much for your time and for the information you shared today. Have a good day.
Same to you, Richie, and thank you, listeners. Thank you for having us.